awoke in the damp, dark cellar that was Y's apartment and jumped out of bed in order to take a shower before S and Y would pick him up for a road trip into the countryside. But when he came out of the bathroom again and checked his phone, a message from S informed him that they were running late. He went out into the backyard for breakfast, where he encountered the landlord that was just watering the tomato plants that grew behind a small iron fence. Dee wondered if the old man was the only one who was in charge here and had built a small shrine in the storage room beside the stairs, and whether he turned on the little lamp that illuminated the pictures of Jesus and the Virgin Mary every night in order to keep the inhabitants of this building safe. But the landlord disappeared before he could ask him, and Dee began to think of Kay instead. She would come along on their trip today, and somehow Dee managed once again to use this fact as an excuse for smoking. After making sure that the landlord had left, Dee got out his pipe and inhaled. I've been stumbling through this city in a haze. I can't find sleep in these hot and shady rooms. Can't shake the feeling that danger looms behind every corner. Can't start to dream over the sound of the fans we try to use to fight the heat, and the machine we had to choose to suck the damp air dry. I wonder why. Suddenly his phone went off and Y told him to hurry up to the street where they had just pulled up to the curb. Dee picked up his backpack and hurried upstairs through the cellar. He threw his things into the trunk and crammed into the back seat beside Y. S introduced him to a cousin whose name he immediately forgot again, over the screams of Y and S as they drove into the insane traffic of New York. After taking a few wrong turns and ending up on a parking lot beneath a bridge, they entered a tunnel that took them beneath the East River. It felt like it would just go on forever. But eventually they saw daylight again, when the tunnel ended in a brick canyon that led them into the heart of the city. They could not reach Kay over the phone when they passed the corner they were supposed to meet at, and so the traffic swept them further into the city. When they finally did reach Kay, her disembodied voice echoed from Y's phone, lamenting the fact that she was hungover and lost. I took a taxi. she did arrive, and after another half hour of screaming, they made it out of the city and into the woods of New Jersey. Kay pointed at the side of the road and said, "That building back there, that's the building I have to drive out to once or twice a week." "What do you do there?" Dee asked, and she replied, My boss, he works over there, so I have to have my vis-a-vis meetings with him over there. It's good to get the V's because right now we're using lots of video conferences." Yeah, you can't get the same thing across." Y jumped in, and Kay continued. "Yeah, and especially as an intern, that's really helpful to develop a better relationship. Plus all the higher-ups are over there, so that, and all the big people, like a lot of the big finance and infrastructure guys. It's all vice presidents and managing directors over there." Dee turned to the window, but all he could see was a big green sign for an army base. When he turned back to Kay, she was just describing the crash of some kind of server, the purpose of which Dee had not really understood, apart from the fact that her bank somehow used it to make money. "That day that server broke down, that was a huge deal," Kay remarked. "The meeting room is like glass, so I can see into it. And they were super serious." "Well, at least it only cost 360,000, and not billions," Y said. But Kay went on. "Yeah, well, they had other crashes like that. They actually lost $1 million that week in total because there was another $250,000 error." "Oh. The issue is that, the algorithms they have, the data that comes in is wrong or something." "Yeah. A lot of the algorithms keep crashing, so then they have to go to manual trading, and that is obviously not as fast, and it messes stuff up, because every one of them, the data that came in was not the way it should have been, so instead of doing they had 30% volume as their thing, so then there have actually been 60%. Isn't that what happened in the flash crash?" Y asked. "Someone just pressed the wrong button? It's kind of scary." Finally, they passed the state border into Pennsylvania and were welcomed by giant American flags on the roofs of stores that sold fireworks. They only sell them to people whose ID marks them as someone from out of state. They want the money, but they don't want their citizens to have them. At a big red sign beside the road, they turned right and pulled up to a small motel. Dee stayed in the car as the others checked in for the 4-bed room they had reserved. When they returned, they went up into the small room with the 2 queen-sized beds, and Dee wasn't sure whether S was kidding when she told him he'd sleep on the floor tonight. Her cousin and Kay stretched out for a nap to cure their hangovers, while Y tried to log into the internet in order to plan their day. "There's a rodeo around here tonight," he exclaimed, and Kay opened her eyes again and said, "Let's go see it." She sat up, and after Dee had made a few sarcastic remarks, the group decided to go there after visiting some nearby waterfalls. First off, they decided to eat though, and so they left the motel and drove into the nearby town, where they went into a restaurant that sold Mexican food. As the others ordered, Dee picked up the local paper from a counter and began to read a few headlines. Heroin bust is one of Pike's biggest ever. Human trafficking on the rise in Pike County. They got their food and returned to the car, which they took up into the woods until they reached a small parking lot. They got out and followed a wooden path that led them across a creek towards the fallen water.